Howdy, Scott in Colorado here. I want to tell you that if you have skills and an attitude and a desire to help, God will use you. He will use you to affect the lives of others. He will place you in situations where He can use you as a tool to assist others. This happened when I was about 16 years old. I had been an active snorkeler and diver on the California coast, living in Southern California for at least a year and a half at that point. I was very confident in the surf. I was confident in the ocean. Anyways, I had a wetsuit on. It was a large surf day out in south of Newport Beach, near Laguna Beach, in a place called Scotsman's Cove. The surf was about 8 to 9 feet that day. It was a yellow flag day. There were, I think there was one lifeguard there on that beach. It was a good beach. There was lots of kelp out there. It was a good beach for scuba diving and snorkeling because there was lots of life and seals and so forth out there. Lots of abalone, lobsters and so forth in those days. This happened about 1969, probably maybe 1970. I was out in the surf. I was body surfing. I had a wetsuit, Firma John, top and bottom on. My arms were free. I was wearing fins for scuba diving that were very powerful. I was out in the surf. There was a riptide, and anytime you have big surf, what happens is you have surf coming into the beach. All right, it comes in, you have all this water coming in. Well, it's got to come back out. All right, you have these huge waves crashing in, and the water's got to come out. What happens is it will come in through the center and then come out through the sides, all right, left and right. Or it'll come in straight in, and there'll be a riptide. There might be 2, 3, 4 of them, depending on the shape of the beach and the scalloping and so forth. It depends on how the sand works, how the coastline is formed and so forth, which direction the waves are coming from, all that stuff. Anyways, I was in a heavy part of the riptide intentionally because there's about a 4-mile-an-hour current going out to the ocean. All right, because of that 4-mile current, the waves coming in, all right, were coming against the current, and they form larger waves because they build on. One goes over the other, and it builds larger waves. I was out here body surfing. There were quite a few other people body surfing. One of them, and as I'm treading water, all right, I'm swimming towards shore constantly, all right, just kicking my legs. I was out about 150 yards out, and I noticed that there were 4 people to the ocean side of me that were getting farther and farther out. They were about 200 yards, 220 yards out at that point. At one point, one of them started screaming and yelling, young girl about 15 years old, and she was yelling as it turns out, at her father. Both of them were panicking. They had been trying to swim in. They were getting more and more tired. The harder they swam, the more tired they got, and they started to panic. And the girl was slapped by her father across the face. I saw this, so it got my attention, and the father, after slapping his daughter full in the face, he just started crawling in just as fast as he could towards shore. He had the strength, and I could see that he was going to make it in. I went after the girl who was being swept out to sea at about 4 miles an hour, and she's sobbing and starting to flounder in the water. And I grabbed a hold of her. I was very confident. I told her, look, before I touched her, I said, look, I'm going to haul you in. I have fins on. I have a 1/4-inch wetsuit on. I have lots of flotation. You can hold on to me, but don't climb up me. If you try to climb up me, I'm going to go underwater, and then you're not going to have anything to hang on to. She calmed down. I got her to flip on her back, took her in through a rescue, across the chest behind her, and swam her into shore. But first, before I did that, is what you do on a riptide. You either swim either north or south. You swim left or right, and you'll hit where the river of water is going in to the beach, and it's just as fast as going out. So I had about a 4-mile-an-hour current riptide taking me back into the beach. Once I got into the beach and got her back on dry sand, I swam back out. 2 Marines, within 5 minutes, started panicking. They had been drinking quite heavily, apparently stationed out in Pendleton. They were intoxicated, slurred speech, and floundering in the water. And they were about the same location. And I told them what was going on. I told them how to deal with riptides and so forth. And I said, give me one of each of your arms. And they didn't detach their arms. Anyways, I took each of their arms, had them get on their backs. I told them, relax. Okay, you can use me for flotation. And I just powered. I headed north on the beach, along the beach. We were about 200 yards out, and finally caught. You can tell very quickly the current. It's just like a river. You can feel it, and took them in. By the time I took those 2 in, that was my 3rd rescue for the day, 3rd person rescue for the day. I got him in, and the lifeguard comes running out. I guess he'd been pretty busy, and he commented. He says, "This is your 2nd rescue, isn't it?" He says, "I've been watching you," and he says, "You're taking care of that whole southern end of the beach for me." And he says, "I appreciate it." And I said, "No problem. I got fins on, so it's real easy." The point is, Heavenly Father will use you. God will use you if you have the skills and have the attitude to help somebody. Don't be afraid to go out there and help somebody. You can affect their lives, affect those people's lives for the rest of their lives. Who knows? Thanks for joining me. If you like it, like it. If you dislike it, please tell me why in the comments. And if you want, subscribe and click the little bell. If you click the bell, that will notify you when I get a new video out. I try to get a video out every day. Take care. Be careful. Bye.